As you are all now aware, on Tuesday, February 4th, 2015, 26-year-old Matthew Brush of the town of LaSalle was arrested and charged with the murder of Cassandra Kaake by the Windsor police detectives. On behalf of the Windsor Police Service, I would like to offer sincere condolences to the Kaake family and friends and hope that with this arrest, their healing can begin. As with all criminal cases, a number of investigative techniques are utilized. This case was no different. We fully appreciate the intrusiveness of taking DNA samples on such a scale. However, the request for DNA was only part of an exhaustive canvass of the surrounding neighborhoods of where the crime occurred. All aspects of the canvass were voluntary and were emphasized as such. These techniques are not unique, but in this case, the breadth and scope of the canvassing and evidence gathering certainly evolved as time passed. I know the Kaake family appreciated these efforts and the efforts of a relentless investigative team under the leadership of Staff Sergeant Mark Denonville. I also know our civil community not only cooperated with our investigation, but participated in an extraordinary manner throughout. As Chief, I am proud of the investigative team and our engaged community who have cooperated from the beginning. Our community has a long history of working in partnership with the men and women of the Windsor Police Service, and I commend all of them for their incredible efforts in this investigation. Thank you.
Good morning, everybody. As you're well aware, and the Chief alluded to, on the night of December 11th and 10th of 2014, a member of our community, Cassandra Kaake, was murdered inside of her residence at 1564 Benjamin. Cassie was 31 years old and 7 months pregnant at the time of the murder. A long and arduous investigation commenced from that point on. Investigators have followed up on hundreds of leads and interviewed dozens of people. We have made numerous submissions to the Center of Forensic Science in Toronto. Thousands of hours of hard work have been put into this case. As a result of this hard work and attention to detail, we are proud that we have made an arrest in this case. Matthew Brush has been arrested and charged with the following offenses: first-degree murder, break and enter with intent, possession of incendiary material for arson, arson causing property damage, arson, fire, disregard for human life, and improper, indecent interference with a dead body. Matt Brush is a 26-year-old resident of LaSalle, Ontario. Certain information cannot be released in order to protect the integrity of the investigation. As well, not only to protect the integrity of the investigation, we must also protect the integrity of the trial process, which affects such things as jury selection and the right of the accused to a fair and impartial trial. As such, I will not be discussing the details of the charges before the court, nor will I be able to discuss the details of the investigation. What I will be able to discuss, however, is the pride that I feel in my community. Having grown up in Windsor, I have always known the character of its residents and know that they take pride in keeping Windsor a safe place to live. The level of support and cooperation that the community has shown us during this investigation is unparalleled. As you are aware, the investigative team recently embarked on an extremely detailed and focused canvass. This canvass created much dialogue within the community. We canvassed over 800 residences in a specific area. Questions were asked of each resident, including whether or not they would be willing to provide a DNA sample if requested at a future date. The response was overwhelmingly in favor of supplying a sample in order to assist the police in identifying a suspect. The number of DNA samples actually taken as a result of this request was no more than a half dozen. As a result of this canvass, investigators received information about vehicles, persons, and suspicious activity in the area. As a result of information gleaned from the canvass, Mr. Brush was contacted and agreed to attend Windsor Police Headquarters. As a result, Mr. Brush was arrested at Windsor Police Headquarters on Tuesday, February the 3rd. It is important to note in this investigation that Mr. Brush is familiar with the Kaake family. I'll also be able to discuss the pride that I feel for the entire investigative team. This arrest has been the result of hard work, dedication, and the tenacity of the investigators to identify the person or persons responsible for Cassie's murder. Although an arrest has been made, the investigation continues. We are currently in the process of applying for and executing search warrants as they relate to Mr. Brush. We will also continue to follow up information that we have received to date. Oftentimes in cases like this, we find that due to lifestyle choices, victims can sometimes bring themselves into harm's way. In this case, Cassie could not be a more innocent victim. We would like to alleviate any concerns within the community in terms of all investigative steps have indicated that Matthew Brush acted alone in his crimes.
What was behind this?
We are not going to discuss motive or details of the crime.
You said that Mr. Brush was known to the Kaake family. Can you elaborate at all about what the relationship was?
All I can say to that is that he was familiar with various members of the family as well as Cassie.
Obviously, you've had a chance to talk to the family. How are they feeling today and yesterday?
We've had, from the start of this investigation, we've had 2 detectives assigned to what we call a family liaison. They spend approximately 20, 25 hours a week with the family. So they've ridden the roller coaster with the family. The family, of course, has been traumatized and extremely upset by all of this. I'm not going to speak on specific conversation that the investigators had with the family. We will make the option of speaking to the media. We'll make that available to the family.